Hi, my name's Laura Bruno and I'm an intuitive astrologer. Today we're going to talk about the explosive Virgo full moon on March 7th, which happens at 7:40 a.m. Eastern US time. So you can calculate that for whatever time zone you're in. When I say explosive, I'm not kidding. The Sabian symbol for this particular degree of Virgo is a volcanic eruption. Keynote: the explosive energy of long repressed contents of the subconscious. The key word is explosion. I'm recording this on March 4th. That's a date, but that's also a command. So we can think of this little video as kind of the battle plan. How do we deal with these energies? How do we accomplish whatever we need to accomplish? And how do we avoid the inherent pitfalls in this highly charged and very intense full moon? So a couple of the very basics are that Saturn is moving into Pisces just about an hour afterwards. The Virgo Pisces axis is a service-oriented axis. Virgo tends to be associated with analysis, thorough analysis, detail-oriented. It's a very professional sign. We get a lot of accountants who are Virgo, also musicians, because there's a lot of precision involved in that. Very meticulous. I actually dressed for this video in a particular way today in order to illustrate something about this full moon. So on the surface, here I am, I got a blazer on, I brushed my hair, I've got glasses on so I can read the fine print. This is all very Virgo. However, underneath the Virgo veneer, we've got the ripped up t-shirt, and it's not just any old ripped up t-shirt, it's a tarot t-shirt. It's the moon card, and this is the Robin Wood deck, the moon card. Anytime that the moon card shows up in tarot, it's a reminder to stay on our path for safety. There can be deception. There can be enemies that are hidden out of sight. There's a sense of the subconscious affecting what we need to do in the conscious realm. And in this case, we've got some liberation energy also connected with this full moon. So there's a pretty close conjunction between the full moon in Virgo at 16 degrees plus to asteroid Lilith, which is at 17 degrees plus Virgo, so less than a degree apart. Now, asteroid Lilith is different than black moon Lilith. Asteroid Lilith is kind of like the younger teenage sister to black moon Lilith. Asteroid Lilith, she hasn't been as traumatized, but she's pretty rammy. She's pretty rambunctious. She likes to protest. She likes to get out there and make demands. So we've got that energy, and anytime you have any type of Lilith energy, you're talking about that women who run with the wolves energy. So that brings us again back to the moon card, where, as you see, we've got the domesticated dog and the wild wolf, and they're both howling at the moon. So this is a reminder to us that those hidden things, those lower vibration things, those subconscious energies that we haven't processed yet, they don't just go away if you ignore them. They're likely to erupt at the time of this full moon. That's going to be extra amplified because we've got a close trine from Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is also very revolutionary energy. So we've got asteroid Lilith right there on the full moon, and then as a supportive trine from Taurus, we've got Uranus. Both of those are about liberation. They can be kind of messy liberation, though. They're not known for their subtlety. They're more known for their demands, their need to just kick out the status quo, to be authentic at all costs. So that energy is kind of running very strongly with this full moon. There's potential with that, certainly. If you have been doing dream work, if you've been doing a lot of Pisces energy things like meditation, spirituality, yoga, dream work, anything that's pulling up things in the subconscious for more conscious awareness, then this is a time period where you might just break through to the other side. Really potent energies, but it's also careful to remember that we will experience this at whatever level of consciousness we are at, and that includes the people around us. So even if you yourself have prepared well and you've done your shadow work and you're not going to be blindsided by it, people around you maybe haven't done as much of that, probably not. And so they could be a little more volatile because they're just not going to understand the energies so much. So again, with the moon card, we want to stay on our path for safety. So the way to get through these difficult energies, challenging transits, especially in March of 2023, is to stay on our path. And if you don't know what that path is, this is an excellent time to develop a spiritual practice, to tune in more and more to the dreams, to those little nudges, so that Lilith energy brings out that primal urge, that natural wild side that is very much a part of who we are, but doesn't have such a huge place in society. It's a kind of misplaced energy that we're being asked to bring up, because that energy is also very connected with the fairy realm. It's got a fairy godmother potential to it. It can be a very magical energy when we tap into our most authentic, primal, natural selves. So that wild woman energy is very much part of this full moon. In addition, we've got some kind of odd things going on. So also conjuncting the full moon, we have Orcus, Thereus, and Aphidus. I wrote a very Virgo-like longer blog post that goes into much greater detail about each of these placements. My videos I like to keep as accessible as possible for people who maybe don't really speak the full language of astrology, so I'm just going to summarize here. But in my blog, which is linked below, you can find all the very detailed information if you have interest in that. The thing to know about Orcus is he's very connected with oaths and oath breakers, the consequences for breaking oaths. So this could be connected with the Hippocratic Oath, this could be oaths of office, this could be any kind of oaths that people have taken, and if they're not following what they swore to do, this is a time period where we could see some consequences. This same cast of characters came up around the time of the Gemini full moon, December 7th and 8th, 2022. However, they were squaring from Virgo, so they were creating friction. Now that friction is coming home to roost. So this idea of oaths up much more now. Thereus has a kind of waiting in the wings quality. It's someone who benefits when certain chaotic events happen and they just happen to be nearby and they can step in and fill the shoes. On a collective level, we may see this as more resignations that suddenly end up appointing people that were unelected, but like they just get to move in. On the personal level, we may find that opportunities rise where if you have a message that maybe the world wasn't quite ready for, and then all these major chaotic shifting energies of March 2023, maybe suddenly you are in a position of leadership. Maybe the world is ready to hear what you have to say now. So that's a way that we can kind of position ourselves with these energies to see, hey, what do I have to offer? What's going on in the world? And kind of just keep your eyes and ears open and then run that through the filter of how can I be of service to the world? Again, that Virgo Pisces axis is a service-oriented axis. Then we've also got Aphidus. That's a little bit further away of a conjunction, so not quite as intense as the first three that I mentioned. But Aphidus is kind of like poetic justice. He was a bad guy, did a lot of rapes and marauding, and then was falling asleep, and he got killed while he was asleep. And so there's this energy with Aphidas of the idea of maybe justice hasn't been served in the normal way. Maybe there's lots of unfair things happening, but somehow it's almost like a divine intervention, and somebody gets struck by lightning, or something happens where it's like Schadenfreude is in effect, right? Like the happiness for someone else's misfortune. Not a happy kind of emotion, but at the same time, I think it's good to be aware that these are the kinds of energies that are in effect. They can bring a certain level of intensity with other people. Maybe not the best time to discuss politics. Maybe not the best time to try to have a rational discussion, just because the energies are going to be very high. Again, normally we would think that Virgo would be great for rational discussions, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury and really likes to look at the bigger picture, likes to figure these things out. But with this explosive energy, that brings a different quality here, and it's a much better use of your time and energy to look for the breakthrough energies, to look for the ways that you may be able to rise up and be of service. I do want to mention a little bit more about Saturn moving into Pisces, because that's so intrinsically tied into this full moon. It happens about an hour later. I have a video on that, a more extensive one below, and also check out the March 2023 forecast, which is in my blog, but then I also made a video of that here linked below. All of those are going to give you more of a flavor, but basically I'm seeing this as fortuitous in the sense that we've got this Uranian Lilith energy that's kind of supercharging things. And Saturn brings a certain level of rationality to it, a certain soberness, a certain grounding stability, even though it's moving into Pisces, that can dissolve things. But just the presence of Saturn at the time of this full moon, I feel is going to stabilize things. So while the energies of March 2023 are very fresh, very new, and could be quite disruptive to the status quo, again, knowing what's coming, having a sense that change is on the way, and asking yourself, how can I position myself so that I am thriving in these energies? How can I help the people around me? How might my message help other people to break away? How might it liberate people? And also, how could you liberate yourself from old patterns? With Saturn in Pisces, some of that old stuff is going to kind of erode or dissolve. And so that can be very helpful also for breakthrough energies. So basically the upshot of this full moon is keep your eyes and ears open. We've had a lot of explosions in the US. We could see more of those. Hopefully the Sabian symbol is much more metaphorical, but just in case not, do have situational awareness and do position yourself in ways that feel right to you. Stay on your path. What is your need? What is your role in the world? Don't get swept away by all the craziness that other people may be feeling around you. You stay on your path. You do your prayers. You follow your dreams. You pay attention to the signs and synchronicities. You'll do well. All right. That's all for now. Happy full moon. Bye.